Yo, welcome everybody. This is Mikey Ice, Original Productions. What is Original Productions? What you guys are seeing is very original, and the interviews are new. So that's why I'm calling it, but it's still Mikey Ice TV, but Original Productions. It's gonna be dope.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, DYZEE.
Yo, what's going on?
Get
What
that
up?
clean, bro. You got it clean though, bro.
I'm looking clean. No, I'm just making some coffee. Coffee in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in the Philippines right now.
Oh,
Spending
you're in
some
the
time.
Philippines? Okay.
Yeah, spending some time with the family because my wife and daughter are in Canada. So
Hey,
I'm just gonna put
DYZEE,
in.
I didn't realize you're Filipino though, right?
Yes. From
Straight
the
up
Philippines.
Filipino?
Yep. One second.
That's what.
Okay.
Okay.
I got the earphones. Oh yeah.
You know,
Ready to
you
rock
know
and
what I
roll.
want? Yeah, DYZEE, you know what I want to say though. Honestly, if it really wasn't for Filipinos on the West Coast breaking when they came back, bro,
I believe it. I absolutely
Filipinos were
believe it.
breaking on the map though, bro. I couldn't even believe it though. All the crews I seen.
Yeah. Word. Well, yeah, it was Filipinos are born to dance. We go to back to America, or everyone goes to America,
Exactly.
and then they partake in the culture, and then they leave a bit of an imprint, and and it's cool. Like it seems like every culture, every talent is doing that with breaking. And like
I see that.
especially the ones that come from struggle or displacement, because
Hmm.
that's where hip hop came from, right? So yeah, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of cool, man. Yeah,
I just always wanted to share that with you because I know probably like you wasn't out here. Of course, you wasn't out here, but Filipino played a like, bro. They brought back breaking from the dead. The first crew I seen was Rock Force, and no, and everybody was wearing socks.
yeah.
Everybody
Well,
had
what?
on socks though, bro. Like I couldn't believe it though. I was like, why is everybody wearing taking off their shoes before the battle? It was like a Filipino thing because everybody else had their shoes on.
Yeah. Well, it was no because
Even
if you know
Remind,
why,
even
you know
Remind.
you know why, because like how Filipinos as a culture got together. When the way we started breaking is if you when I was young, anytime you went to any family party or family house party, you would see like cousins or people who break, right? So everyone would have
Right?
to break inside the houses, like inside the house, but you're not
Yeah.
allowed to wear shoes. You're not allowed to wear shoes in the house, right? So everyone learned to break in socks, like.
That's what it was, though, bro. I remember the first time I went to the Filipino's house, and my homeboy Johnny would take off his shoes, and I must have counted like 20 pairs of shoes in front of the house, bro.
Yeah, and so that's how we learned how to break. And
Exactly.
speaking of Filipinos,
Okay.
right? So when I was young, right, like of course I hung out with a whole bunch of Filipinos, but and Filipinos were considered different from Asians, right?
Why is
Like
that?
there was like because like Asian is a very Asians like okay, we are Asian now. Everyone they know we're Asians, right? But culturally, like Asia, like Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, they have this long history of 5,000 years. You know what I mean? Of like thousands and thousands of years. So they know where they come from. They know their ancestry. They know that, and they know, right? And so they have certain ways of doing things. We do this because our great ancestors did this. That's the way that
Okay.
most Asians think, right? There's a right way, there's a wrong way. But
Hmm.
Filipinos, we're this island that's right the gateway to the Asia, right? And it's been conquered so many times, right, by Spaniards, Muslims,
Yeah.
Americans, like all of the Asian countries nonstop that we don't actually have a like a our culture is the culture of having no culture, right? That's
Oh,
our culture, right? Like
okay.
so we're kind of like are we the conquerors or are we the conquered? Or like are we the did we don't know. So that's why Filipinos don't hate anybody. They don't they don't treat people like, oh, you did this to us. Like we don't think like that, right? We just go, oh, It happened all the time. So everyone did it to everybody. That's the way Filipinos think. So we don't have this kind of like, oh, you did this to us, and because everyone did something to us, but we're also the result of those people coming here and taking over. So we're kind of like the ancestors, so that's the way we think. So, we lost where we came from. We kind of like, okay, we have Spanish names, but we have like indigenous, but we also have like a lot of Asian countries from the wars, from like China and Korea, all fled for when the Mongolians invaded. Genghis Khan was killing everyone, so people got on boats, and the place that they landed was the Philippines. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Right. So people learned how to live together. They were like, okay, we're living on this island, and there's these people over there and people over there, but we'll just let so we have the cultures mixed of everywhere, right? Like so we're like the melting pot island.
Thanks for
So hip hop works.
You broke it down.
So hip hop works, right? Hip hop works for Filipinos because we're just like, oh wow, culture. Like look at this. So we kind of just naturally, draw to it, I guess.
Yeah. It's just, I was kind of curious though, bro. Like I want to congratulate you on your success with your shoes. I've been noticing, like I've been seeing them at the U.S. Break-In Open. I'll see a lot of people wearing your shoes. And
thank you.
I want to say, like,
Thanks.
for me to you being an entrepreneur though, like I salute you on that, bro, because I know the b-boy market is tough. It's one of the toughest markets.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But for me, it's just like, I there was just an opportunity that came up. You know what I mean? To be able to have a shoe brand, and I just wanted to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a lot of people are like, yo, why did you put your name on the shoes? Like this, most people won't wear a shoe with your name on it. And the real reason why I put my name on it was because like when I first met my partners, they're the ones who kind of found me. And then they were like, okay, you need to put your name on the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I don't want to do that, right? I was like, because people aren't going to buy it if my name's on the shoe, right? And they were like, well, we're not going to work with you and do it if you don't put your name on it, because we know that if your name's on it, you're gonna have to try your best. You're not gonna make something whack if your name's not on it. And I was like,
right.
Oh, and then they were like, what's your goal? And I said, my goal is to help other people have their own shoes one day, right? Like that's my goal, right? It's like if people want to have their own sneakers or their own breaking shoes, then I want to be the one to open that door, because Nike, Puma, and Adidas never really kind of like did that for us. So I'm like, hey, I want to make that possible. So they said to me, well, how are you going to convince other people that they can have their own shoe with their name on it if you don't have it with your name on it? So I was just like, oh, that's kind of true, right? So
right.
I'm just using my name as a brand, but eventually, if anybody wants to make shoes, stuff like that, I'm going to be like, that's my goal, is helping everybody else to make breaking shoes, like shoes that are made for breaking. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm interested. Honestly, I'm interested in that process. So, bro, like, what is the starting cost for something with that type of idea? Like, how much I got to start with?
Well, okay. So this is the interesting thing, right? It's because
Mm-hmm.
the owner, so our partner is from Taiwan, and he owns the factory in Indonesia, right? So our shoes are made in Indonesia, right?
Okay.
And so the cost of making a shoe, so a lot of people don't really know the actual cost, right? So I'm going to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
The cost to make a shoe is anywhere from between $18 to $30, depending on the materials, the cut, and everything like that, right? Like, but you can make I can make a shoe as cheap as 18. I mean, in terms of the shoes that I have,
Mm-hmm.
$18 is the cheapest, but 35 was the most that it cost, right? To make, like, the factory cost. But shipping is cost anywhere from $15 to $25 per shoe, right? So let's just say it's 35 is the maximum plus 25. It costs like already 60, 35 plus 25. What's that? 30, 40, $60, right? So for one shoe, the cost is 60. You know what I mean? So, but the interesting thing is that our factory, they're willing to support the breaking, through DYZEE Threads, by making smaller batches. So when you go to another shoe factory, if you ever want to make a shoe factory somewhere else, the smallest, for it to be worth it for them, you have to buy at least 500, minimum 500 pairs. But normally they wouldn't do it for less than 1,000 pairs. They usually say 2,000 is the minimum. You know what I mean? So that's a huge cost, right? So when I got a chance to work with them, I was just like, I was just like, this is like the only chance to like start, like, you know, to be able to like make, you know, small batches of shoes. So if you want to make shoes, yeah, we can like definitely talk about that, you know. Oh yeah, someone said they saw it at a freestyle session. Yeah.
I did see him at a freestyle session though, bro. They had a table lined up, and I seen
Yeah,
it
yeah,
too,
yeah.
like first thing I seen it like it was the black and silver one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The black and gold one, right on the bottom, like the
Exactly,
yeah,
yo,
yeah.
bro. I seen that. Yeah. How
So
much is a pair of shoes like that? Is that like how much is a pair?
100, like, you know, it's like about $100. Yeah, that's how much we sell
Right.
it
Okay.
for, so we can cover all the cost of, you know, being a business.
Can
It's expensive.
can a lot of honestly yeah, exactly? I want to say that can a lot of b-boys really can they afford that? Because I know like some people might be struggling
Yeah.
with cash and be like, yo, I got only like 50, bro.
Yeah, yeah. The thing, like, if I sell the a pair at 50, I actually am losing money actually. You know what I mean? So I'm actually paying somebody, you know, by giving them the shoe for $50. You know, so it's because like sometimes it can cost from 60 to $35. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, to actually make the shoe. You know what I mean? So that's why it's really like tough. You know, but I understand, right? The shoe, I realize something about the shoe, right? Like until I start mass producing it, there's no way that we can make it cheaper and affordable for b-boys to wear. But it's the truth is that it's not everybody can afford the shoe, right? It's kind of like, you know, like it's truth, right?
Yeah, bro, you
know?
gotta have a
Yeah.
you gotta have a job though, bro. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah.
Make sure 100 on yourself to be truthful.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So
Morris said
crazy.
the black and I think he said the black and gold are the best one. Morris said that.
Yeah, the black and gold. Yeah, I
like
feel that.
Those, bro.
Yeah.
You know what? It kind of remind me of the concept of like the Enter the Dragon. Remember when Bruce Lee was wearing the black and yellow?
Oh yeah. The colorway for the yellow and the black. That's Wu-Tang. That's why I call them the Wu number ones. If you see on the back, they has the W.
Ooh.
Yeah, the hand sign W, not the logo, or else I would get a copyright. I always wanted to meet Wu-Tang, but not in court, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yo,
Yeah.
You got jokes, bro. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just a tribute, you know what I mean?
I want to ask you, like, you live in Korea or the Philippines?
No, I live in Taiwan, so I've been like holding it down in Taiwan because that's where, that's where the business is set up. You know, we have we also have, like I work with the Dream Runners, so we open up like breaking clubs. You know what I mean? So we have like clubs in, I don't want to say how many clubs there are now, but I'll just wait until it's so big that people have to know. So I'm gonna keep it a secret for now, because there's people who are sabotagers, you know. So you gotta like be careful now. I gotta watch what. Yeah, there's people who. Yeah, there's like haters who try to like, you know, if they know what.
Bro? You know what I call them? The men in black.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's sabotagers and people who are gonna try to like, you know, tear down what you do, right? So when they find out your plan, they try to find a way in there to like throw a monkey wrench. So I realized the best thing to do is just, you know, like I used to be so open about everything, right, and telling all the secrets, but now I realize, okay, you know, you gotta keep some things a secret until it gets so big that you know everyone notices it. You know what I mean? So there's some big things that are we're planning for the breaking scene worldwide, you know, and we're just trying to catch the Olympic the hype from the Olympics, the third wave of breaking. You know, there's two major waves. One is in the 80s when the breaking exploded. That's the reason why we're here today. If that didn't happen, despite the exploitation, all that kind of stuff, but if that didn't happen, hip hop would have exploded around the world, right? So breaking brought hip hop out in the world. And then the second major media explosion was in Korea in the mid 2000s. You remember when Korea blew up? Remember, it was like all over TV in Korea, those big stage battles. Battles like every weekend, sponsored by banks. So that was the second major explosion. But we're coming to a third major explosion in breaking, right? Which is most likely to the Olympics, where it's already kind of happening now, but it's gonna hit like a really big peak where it's gonna be on TV. There'll be a lot of money and investors coming into the scene. But we really need to prepare for that. You know what I mean? Like you need to prepare so the stuff you're doing right now. That's why I keep supporting any business. Any breaking business, I support it because I'm like, yo, we need to be ready for the big wave when it comes. You don't want to be chasing the wave and then if you chase the wave, then the people who call the shots are the ones who aren't from the scene that have the money. They're going to be like, well, I want breakers and, you know, to do this and dance like this. And you know what I mean? Like, so we have to control it ourselves, you know? That's the reason why I'm doing the shoes.
Yeah, and you're right. And this is the reason why too, like I'm doing this stuff too, because I want to be that person that, you know, like maybe somebody might want to fly me out and say, you know what, can you be the videographer? You know, because I know pretty much everybody in the scene, if they're from back in the day and today.
Yeah.
You
for
know?
sure. Definitely.
And then also, DYZEE, I wanted to tell this. I want to give you this this props though, bro. I can't remember who exactly said it, but somebody said, yo, like the difference between Mikey Ice and Korean Rock, that Mikey Ice was there, and you had mentioned you was like, yo, like this dude was way ahead of his time though, bro. So if anything, Mikey Ice gets the credit, and word got back to me, and I was like, that's dope though, bro, because you know the truth though, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, I feel like, you know, like you're actually trying to, like, you know, you were there, right? You know, so you were there, you know, and I think Korean Rock, he is just very good at posting clips. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like posting clips, and so he's got a good social media, you know, library. You know what I mean? But you actually have it on VHS, like you actually got it like on the tapes, you know, and filmed it yourself, most of it. So, you know, that's awesome. You know, and you have the relationships with the actual.
With the people.
The difference is that you have the relationships.
On the videos.
That people are on the video. You actually like have like a, to me, like you know, it's the way that your approach is different. It's kind of like you saw how everything, you know, and how everyone was thinking, and you know, you spoke to people like directly. So I think that's really awesome. You know.
Thank you.
I think both is good. Both is really good though, you know. But yeah, man, I support what you do. You know.
Right.
Yeah, because you're
really
definitely one of us.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm not really knocking him or bashing him for what he's doing, but at the same time, it's like I still want to be recognized as the first, because I was the first to start putting videos on B-Boy World. You remember that back in the day, 2005. I used to blow it up on B-Boy World though, bro. Like, time. I put up the K-Mel versus Kenny battle. Nobody's ever seen that. I was the first.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Even all that Canada footage that you guys had though, bro. Like I was putting it up on B-Boy World too, and I used to like I really liked your stuff. I remember I had some footage of you when you won the Rocksteady Crew anniversary. I think it was what, 99?
Oh no, 2001, I think. 2000 or 2001. Yeah.
Oh,
you have that footage? What? How did you get that footage? Where is it? Even I didn't see that footage. Yeah. That's the footage that got my name out, because before that, like, people were like, "Oh, your style's not a b-boy style and whatnot," and they were saying all this stuff. And then when I won Rocksteady anniversary, everyone was just like, "Oh shoot, like, who's judging? It was Rocksteady." They're like, "Oh," so they couldn't say that anymore. They couldn't say I wasn't a b-boy. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. You know what, DYZEE too? The first time I actually really seen you get down, and I remember this battle clear. I went to Sacramento, and it was DYZEE versus J-Rock.
Oh my goodness, honestly, that was my first exhibition.
Tell me about that. Can you explain that experience for you? Like, what was it like?
It was kind of, I don't know. It was kind of weird. Like, I was like young. I was like I think I was 20 or 21.
Okay.
And then Paulski hit me up and he's like, "Yo, we want to like bring you to you know, do an exhibition battle, 10 rounds." And I was like, "Against who?" And he's like, "Against J-Rock." And I was like, "J-Rock?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm down to battle this guy." I mean, not in a hating way. I never, like, you know, because I did kind of like think style elements were awesome, you know, like I was like, so I had a huge amount of respect for them. But at the same time, I was kind of like, he's like the thread guy of style elements, right? So in my mind, I was like, I want to battle over the style, right? Like, okay, I'm going to, you know, like the mentality is like, I'm going to show you where it comes from, right? Or whatever, right? Like, not saying that he bid it. I'm not saying that he bid it or anything. I'm not saying that at all, right? Because I don't know where he got his thread inspirations, you know what I mean? Like, I can't say where he got it, right? Okay. I don't know. But I believe that it's our style, right? Like, you know, so I have to battle for that. So when I got brought over, I was like, okay, I trained for it. And it's kind of funny because, like, you know, I was just like after like a few rounds, you get tired. So I'm just going to do the moves back at him. But he was so tired, I guess, because he wasn't training like write about it. But at the end of the battle, you can see me come and go, hey, that was a good job. Just sitting by him and talking to him, like, which is not normal. Like, like I was so nice. I was just so happy to be there. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, but I met a lot of cool people then. You know what I mean? That was dope. It was like my first time to come to Cali and, get a name out, so get my name out there. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, because I kind of felt like Jay did gas out in like the middle of his round.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you still had like mad sets like to run though. So I thought like, damn, like
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it though, bro. Like I could tell you weren't tired that night, but he was tired that night.
Yeah, I was kind of getting tired, but I was used to keep going, and I kind of like did feel bad for him for gassing out. You know what I mean? Because you want like I don't I don't care. It's not about winning for me, even though I'm always trying to win. I always try to win. I love winning, but it's not about that, right? Like it's like if I'm battling somebody. So, for example, if I enter a competition and I lose, but it was the best battle that anyone's ever seen, and we battle at our best, and I hit all my stuff, to me that's more important than winning a battle. But I wasn't really good. The other person wasn't really good, but I won a competition. It's not. It's I want to have battles that people are gonna remember. That they're gonna talk about for a long time, right? Like like remember when you did this battle? Floor. To me, that's important. You know what I mean? Where yeah. That's what I think everyone should aim for. Is like, I want to, even if I don't win, but I need to like make a name. I got to make noise, People don't try to make noise like that, I feel, as they used to. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's so true, man. Thank you for sharing that for me, because I kind of wanted to know what was up with that night, and after that night, I just started seeing you like excelling though, bro. And then,
yeah.
And then it's just
fun.
like, I got a question for you though. Was Abby Girl part of Supernatural?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she was like, she got down because like we started traveling to the States, and I met Abby Girl and at that time was a Problem Child, right? So they got down in Supernaturals. Yeah. They got Junie, rest in peace. Yeah, Junie and Abby Girl were both Supernaturals, right? So they were down, and yeah. It's pretty crazy. Yeah,
that makes sense though, bro. Because I remember when he passed away, that you said that you were gonna be at his funeral.
Yeah. That's why I was there, right? And so, yeah. It was Abigail is like, she's like my sister. You know what I mean? Like she's my homegirl because we came up around the same time. She kind of blew up a little bit before I did. You know what I mean? Like she kind of got out before me. But when she was when she was getting out there, she was already Supernaturals. So that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Thank you for sharing that. DYZEE, too. Okay, Lego, right? There's the Lego from Miami, then there's the Lego from Canada.
Yes.
Is it the way the Lego in Canada, does he spell his name different from the other Lego?
Yeah, it's like Leg. His name is Leg O, like Leg Zero. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, Leg O. Right? That's his name.
So was he your teacher?
I wouldn't say he's like, okay, in some ways, yes. Okay. I would have to say yes. But he never taught me like, all right, DYZEE, this is what you do. So actually, it was me and Migas that were breaking with him, right? Like, with Lego. And it wasn't like he was like, all right, you guys have to do this, and this is how you do this. It was just like, while we were young and we were thinking all about moves and tricks and like power moves, right? Like, how normal people think. Like Lego, he's like older than us. So he's like around 50 now, 50 plus, right?
Okay.
At that time, me and Migas were 16. He was about 20, he was 24, right? So he was much older. And he's originally from Barbados, and he immigrated into America, and he lived in the Bronx, right? And then so he grew up in the Bronx, and then he immigrated to Toronto, Canada, right? So he's living in Canada.
So he was in the Bronx in the 80s?
Yeah, he was in the Bronx in the 80s, like growing up in the 70s, 70s into 80s. So he was part of the culture. So he has that natural like it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of like it's just part of his culture. Like even today, he still breaks, but it's never like, oh, I have to go practice. I have to. He just does his stuff. Just wants to make up moves. Just wants to you know what I mean? What? So his essence of his way of thinking about breaking, about I got to make up my own shit. Like this is my shit. Like that's the way that he always talked. You know what I mean? Like So it kind of rubbed off on us, right? And he's just like 100% hip hop, and then he's like always talking about the like rap and how complex, and so his breaking emulated that, right? Like being complicated, with a flow, move to move, like everything has to rhyme, like your footwork has to rhyme, right? Like it has to look like, and so we took that same concept of how he did it and we did it in our way, you know what I mean? Like, so we kind of got like he started threading first, like I mean not doing threads as moves like most people do, but threading as a style, like footwork threads, like leg work, like complexity, illusions. So he was doing it, but the things that me and Migas were way more flexible and we were younger, and he had a baby. We were like, so we were able to take the concepts further than he, more dynamically than he did, you know what I mean? So yes, he's like, my teacher in the sense of just being around him, you know what I mean? Like, we learned so much, you know what I mean? Like, I absorbed it from him. And then just about what a crew is, his mentality just rubbed off on us, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I have to say about him,
And Migas was Supernaturals too, right?
Yeah, like, so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who came out of Supernaturals that people don't know, right? Like, we made a lot of like really dope people that got their name out, and like, and so, it's just like, because we're all about an individual style. Like you have to create a dynamic style that people will make a name, right? And that's the whole concept of like Supernaturals. Like, it's like a style that's like out of this world. You know what I mean? Like,
that makes
right?
sense.
So,
bro.
So yeah. So Migas was in Supernaturals. And that's how he's the one who brought me in, and we were best friends. And then later on, something happened, and he ended up joining Boogie Brats, right? Like he kind of like joined Boogie Brats, and then and I was like, and then I this is 96, 96, yeah. So yeah, it was like 90 and to the end of 96, turning into 97, I believe. Yeah, when he joined, right? So yeah. So when I joined, it was like I think in the beginning of 95. And then we were like best friends from like always together. And then later at the end of 96, he joined Boogie Brats. And then the rest is history, right? So, he took it and then brought it in the Boogie Brats kind of way. And then we kind of kept it with the complex kind of way. And then Bag of Tricks did the illusions and the original trick kind of way. And, and we all kind of, we're kind of competing with each other because they were rivals, right? So we're like, and that's the reason why the styles kept on like, one-upping and going up, because we were all trying to come up with a way to one-up each other, You know
what I noticed too in Canada? Like, you guys are really aggressive though, bro. Like, it was a lot of like, pushing and shoving, bro. When I see like back to the underground and all
yeah.
Why was it so physical with Canada people, bro?
No, it was just because like everyone took like originality and breaking like so seriously, you know what I mean? Like, they're so serious about it, and at that time, like there was like kind of like an opposing view, and I'm not trying to bring up old beef and say who's right and say who's wrong, you know what I mean? So like, I mean, we're past that now, so we all kind of grew up, and we're like, so I don't want to like bring up like old beef, but they believe that we took the style from Migas, and we're saying no, Migas was with us, and he took. So it's up to people to kind of like decide themselves, right? Like, it's a fact that Migas was with Supernaturals. I have the pictures of us doing the Supernatural sign and everything like that. And Migas is still down with Supernaturals now. He came back into Supernaturals, you know what I mean? So he's still down with us now. Yeah. He still reps, right? So, but I mean, like, but he's. I mean, he had a condition, right? He still has a condition and stuff like that. But it's not about that. It's just about being boys and friends, and just kind of like he's coming home, and we're and he hangs out with the boys and the originals,
That's
what I was saying is
that's what it's about.
Yeah. So it's kind of like he came back home, and he's still part of Boogie Brats. He's still, of course, like, you know what I mean. And so we're like, hey, we're old now, so we don't care about the things we used to care about before, like, So, but either way, the point is it's. Either so he was with us, he was with us at that, and then he left, right? And it's either he was with us and he took the concepts that we had and then went to Boogie Brats and developed it better, or and then we all bit him, you know what I mean? So it's either we bit him after he left, or he was with us and took the concept, and we were doing it together, and then he left, right? So it's up to people to choose. What do they think it is, right? Like, what makes more sense, you know? So
So are
and
you
then
guys? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and so if people were saying like, oh, you're biting, you're biting him and whatever. Of course, we're gonna take that personally. We're gonna say, what? No, we're not. Like, like he was with us, and they're gonna be like, no, man, like we seen him, and like look, like he came out first. You know what I mean? So people saw him first, and so they would believe that he. But I think that's too much for somebody to. That's why now when people say, hey, yo, you created so much, I have to always. I don't want to. I always say, oh, I may have created stuff, but I created off what other people had, because it's too much to take all the credit for something that you totally don't deserve. You know what I mean? Like
I got
it's gonna destroy it'll destroy your ego. It'll build an ego and a false ego, and it's gonna be like on a house of cards. And I feel like it's not good to take that on yourself. So like I believe that like myself, Migas, everyone, we're just creating off the inspirations that inspired us to create stuff, and people are creating off us, and and so all we can do now is talk about our history, right? Like, this is what we created, and this is what's in the game. And not to say you guys can't do it, right? Like, yo, you go ahead and do my moves, but I just hoping that people will remember where it came from. If you do these certain moves and stuff like that, and these certain styles, just like just know that it came from us. Only for the fact that when we're gone, when I die, I'm gonna be happy knowing that it's my moves that I created are continued into, like, it's almost like a part of us doesn't die even after we're gone. I think that's amazing, right? People are still doing hand hops. Crumbs, even when longs after Crumbs is gone, it's like people are keeping him alive by doing hand hops, right? Like, as long as they remember it came from him, or when people are doing like those crazy floats, part of Cujo's still alive, right? It's kind of like amazing, right? Like, that you live. It's a way to be immortal, right? So, it's kind of awesome.
That's the same way. Exactly. That's the same way how I feel about documenting this, though, because I know one day I'm gonna pass away.
Yeah.
But when people get into the future, the year 2040 or whatever, I want to be remembered as like, yo, who was the first dude that was always documenting b-boys? Like, I want my name to come up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I believe that that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
man. Yeah, that's dope.
So that's why.
Yeah. One day, what?
Like this. That's why I feel like just even having this conversation with you, though, this is like the new blueprint. Like, I want to do stuff in today's times though too. Like, I'm from back in the day, but I don't want to be from the outside looking in. I still want to be in the inside. Still being able to evolve and shake hands and keep like stories current, because I feel like as b-boys, even the skateboarding, like, it's so well documented though, bro. It's like everybody respects all the pros, all the OGs.
Yeah.
And I feel like in breaking, like, how come we can't have that?
Oh yeah, I know. It's kind of sad how it's like, but I mean, but it's the same thing as like when we were young, people were doing that to the way people treated OGs in the mid 2000s was so bad. So people are so much more nicer to OGs these days. I feel like that, right? Because I feel like people treated OGs in our time in the 90s. Not saying that we did it, right? But other people that were doing it, like the kids from the 2000s, it was so bad, that. But now there's I feel like there's more love for the OGs now. There's more love, but it's just people are more passionate about what's happening now, right? Which makes sense, right? I mean, like, we had our time, and so, and now you have these new kids who are breaking, like, on the Olympic stage and stuff like that. Like, of course, that's gonna have the tension's gonna be around that.
I know.
But what? Yeah. So just keep documenting,
too,
right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep documenting. I feel proud to see that it's going to go to that level, because we come from that 90s era where it was like, it was spoken about, but nobody really seen it ever achieved though. So now to finally see it come like in 2 years later, it's just like,
yeah,
I feel proud, because
it's amazing.
I never left ship. Like, I seen it basically from the ground up. I never stepped away and just popped up like, hey, check this out. Like, OG Mikey is back, and everybody's like, where you been the last 20 years, bro? That's never been my case.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Well, it's not easy. You already know, DYZEE. Like, it's not easy staying a true b-boy though, bro. There's so much sacrifice, and you have a family too.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why, like, I've been, my whole career has been dedicated now, like, to creating a sustainable way that b-boys can live, you know what I mean, off breaking, right? And so that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing the shoes. That's why I'm opening the clubs, the breaking clubs, because nothing killed me more than like seeing, like, so even when Supernaturals was at the top of our game, nothing killed me more than seeing our rivals disappear, because even though I had rivals, and they were my rivals on the dance floor, but I have a huge, like, respect for them for being my rivals, like, or else I wouldn't care, right? Yeah.
Would you say Roland was your rival?
He was one of my major rivals for sure, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, that was a little bit more personal because we were friends first, right? So, if someone was my rival but I didn't really know him, then I'm like happy to, but it was personal with him because we were actually friends. We entered freestyle session together, you know what I mean? And then somehow, like, there's some beef kind of started, and I'm not even sure how or what it was, or what, if I did something or what, but then it just kind of like, and then it went back and forth. But I don't want to see him disappear. I want to see, even though he became my rival, I want to see him dancing at the best that he can do. You know what I mean? Like, and so we patched things up, and it was like one of the best feelings, like when I was in Vegas, and and then he apologized for it, doing the things that he did because he was not in a good place. All of us weren't in a good place. We were all like, like, breaking was what was the one positive thing, and when everything else in our life was negative. So, I can't say no. I can't forgive you. Of course, I was like, totally cool. So we're cool. Like, we're totally cool now. So but he was like, one of my best rivals for sure.
I seen
for
that
sure,
battle, bro,
of course.
when it was you and Jess Effects and him and Ches. You remember that battle?
Yes, yeah. That was a hot battle, man. That was a great battle. Yeah, it was dope. I love that, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, you guys are going at it though, bro. Like, honestly, Dizzy, as long as I've seen you break, I've never seen you get smoked, bro. I've never seen you get smoked though, bro. Like,
because you know what, I've always felt like this is a good thing and there's a bad thing about this kind of attitude. But I've always felt that because I started in the circle, right? Like, so like, like there was no competitions. And when someone gets smoked, it's either you disappear, your career's done, or you have to get like revenge, right? Like, So I only got smoked one time. Well, actually, there's a couple times I feel like I got smoked, and I'm not lying. I'm not gonna lie. But one time, the major time was when I got smoked by Migas, right? Like, I just came back from the Philippines. I was like, I just came back from the Philippines. We were dancing up on a stage. I saw all the b-boys and stuff like that. And then, like, it wasn't normal to call people out unless you have beef with them. But he was just like, he just challenged me like in the friendliest way. But I was like, but it automatically got into my mind. I was just like, what? Like, I wasn't ready, right? Like, and I wasn't ready to be an asshole to him, right? Because we were like, I still felt like this love for this guy. And so, but I feel like he beat me, right? I feel like that, right? But I was trying my best. I was going out. And then in my mind, I was like, man, like, I could have done better. I could have done way better, right? And so I trained so hard after that, right? Like, trained as hard because I was like, I know I could have done better. So that when he came back to the underground and our crews battled, and then I went out hard after him, that's kind of what started the beef. That's what started the beef, because it was like, so like for once, like, he's like, because I'm pretty sure at that time he was considered untouchable. You know what I mean? So, he was like, right, and here I am, like, kind of challenging that, and we're going back and forth, and so it was like, yeah.
What year was that? Was that
99? 99. Yeah, 99. Back to underground is 99. Yeah, 98 is when we battled the first time, when I feel like he smoked me, like, So the footage is not out. I don't know. I thought that they would have the footage and they would have put the footage out. So maybe I did better than I thought, right? But in my mind, I felt like I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy though. Actually, a lot of these stories that you're sharing though, like, I've never heard them before. That's the reason why, like, I wanted, for to speak to you, because, like, I know that you have a long, rich history with Canada, And
Mm.
I don't really know too much about Canada, so everything that you're sharing is fresh to me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna speak to Flex next from
Dope.
what's it?
Bag of tricks.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak to him too as well because
Dope. Dope.
I think Canada has like such a dope history though, bro. It's kind of good
Mm.
that I'm hear everybody like speak about
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, like Bag of Tricks definitely is like a huge inspiration, for me. Especially Gizmo. So we're talking about the whole Filipino thing,
oh,
right? Like
yeah,
like
Gizmo.
like Gizmo. So back then, like Filipinos didn't really get into breaking that much. You know what I mean? It was just we were house dancing, right? And then there was
Exactly.
this, but the thing is that Filipinos, like we weren't hanging out with all the other Asians because we weren't Asian enough for them. So who are we hanging out with, right? We're hanging out with like mainly like like black and Latinos. You know what I mean? So that's who we were all like. The
Exactly,
parties
bro.
were right. We were at the hip hop parties, and there was always this, yo, did you hear about Gizmo? And he was like this myth, like Gizmo.
Really?
Yeah, I heard about him, right? Like it was kind of like that. Like this is like in the 90s, like 91, 92. I heard about Gizmo before I started breaking, right? Like, because you heard there's this little Filipino guy who's destroying everybody in the circles, right? Like, and then there was all
Yeah.
these myths. Oh, his name is Gizmo because he has all these little tiny moves that are like, what was that? What was that? And so he was like, so when I saw him for the first time, right? I was just like, holy crap, he's real. Like, and what they were saying about him was real because a lot of the things that people do today, the most littlest things that you wouldn't even think, like one hand freeze and threading your foot. That was like
Yeah.
Gizmo, you know what I mean? Like worms into freezes, like just like all the
Yeah.
little tiny moves. Like he created so much stuff. Like I called it I thought it was called the gremlin. You know that side spin, like
Yes.
where you're the gremlins. I thought it
That's
was
what
named
Flora
Gremlin
calls
because
it.
yeah, I thought it was called Gremlin because Gizmo is from the movie Gremlins, right? So, that's why I was like, yeah, it
Oh,
makes sense they're
shoot, bro! I
calling
didn't
it
think
Gremlin
about that.
because I believe that he made it up, right? Like, like he made it up, right? And also, like Gizmo was part of Rocksteady, right? He got into Rocksteady, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, well, it makes sense that Easy Rock is doing it, Flow Rock's doing it because they're Rocksteady, and he was doing it since for so long, so they got it from him and they named it Gremlin after Gizmo, right? That was what I actually thought. I was like,
Oh,
yeah, it makes sense.
shoot.
Yeah. So he like because he did that, and I remember when he did it, everyone was like, "What the hell is that?" You know what I mean? So yeah, so Gizmo was like, yeah. When I saw him, I knew what it meant to me. I was like, you have to make as many original small moves as possible if you're gonna hang in the circle. You need to have a huge arsenal of little tiny moves. You know what I mean? And that's what Gizmo did. He had like so many
Wow.
moves. Yeah. That's what
Dang,
happened.
dude, you
Yeah.
dropping mad history today, though, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna reach out to Gizmo. I would like to hear his
Good.
story.
Of course, you should. When I finally got to hang out with him one time, and he just told me all the stories about how he got into Rocksteady. I won't spoil it, right? Like just it was just the illest stories of like. So I'll just tell you something similar, like just a little bit about a teaser is. Like so he saw like Mr. Wiggles and everyone and Ken Swift, and he knew who they were, their faces because of the videos. And one day he's walking down New York, right? And he saw these guys. He goes, "Yo, you're Mr. Wiggles. Yo, you're Ken Swift, right?" And they're like, "What? You break?" And so I'm just gonna like stop it there, and you gotta ask him yourself like how he got into like Rock City. It's like it's amazing, It's just, and he was also Seven Gems. Do you remember Seven Gems?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Seven Gems, right? He was that extra missing guy, like so Gizmo is like everyone wonders why Japan is so original, right? If you ask all the OGs from Japan, Gizmo is their Ken Swift. You know what I mean? Like Gizmo is
What?
their main guy. Yeah, because the this guy Chow from Waseda Breakers, you know what I mean? Like, and he also joined Havoc Koro, right? But he was also
Oh,
Bag
that's
of
him.
Tricks. Yeah, he was also Bag of Tricks. Yeah, so he was. So when I was coming up, I remember Chow from Japan, from Waseda, was in Toronto, and I remember I was like, "Who's this guy? This Japanese guy, right?" And they were like, "Oh, he's from Japan, right?" Like, and he's part of Bag of Tricks. right? Like I was like, what? They got a guy from Japan? So they all had his videos and stuff like that, and that's why Japan is all about originality, because it stems from, in my opinion, right? And this is my opinion, right? Like I don't know, other people may not agree with this, but in my opinion, I believe that Bag of Tricks is the one that birthed the whole originality movement. Like about being original. They were almost like everything to them was about being original, right? Like if you weren't original, you were whack. If you did a windmill, it had to be either the best windmill ever, or it had to be like an original windmill. Otherwise, it's whack. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were so about originality that they even beefed with each other about biting, right? So that's why, of course, they would hate me. Like it makes sense why they would hate me, because I'm not in their crew, and I'm doing moves, and obviously some moves are inspired by them. And to them, they had an extreme view of originality where even you can't even be close. Like it can't even be close to somebody else's move. It's biting if it's just a little bit close, which is not in breaking totally. Like that's not like if someone does a windmill, you do a handcuff, you can make up a windmill holding my foot. That's fine. But in their opinion is you can't do it at all, right? Like, it has to be a totally different move. So it makes sense why they were like not feeling me when I was coming up, and I totally understand that now.
Dang.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it makes sense, right?
So when you was coming up, bro, you received a lot of hate?
Of course, right? Like, of course, right? Like, but I got like a lot of people hated me, of course, but it makes sense, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I never got into breaking to be popular or to, or to make friends. Like, that's not why I got into breaking, because I was already popular. I already had a lot of friends outside of breaking, like I was rolling with a lot of people. Like we were like causing a lot of trouble. I already had a name for being a punk, you know what I mean? Like, so I already had that kind of like, but I got into breaking so that I could hurt people's feelings, you know what I mean? Like that's why I got into breaking, because I was like, I like the fact that you can crush somebody, and you're not actually beating them up in real life, you know what I mean? Like I like that fact that I can get that out. Like, yeah, I'm just destroying this person's, like it was very, I'm not like that anymore, but I mean like, but that's how I was thinking back then, you know what I mean? So
Little Bear
so
said, I'm sorry, Little Bear had mentioned somebody named Deadly Mike. Who's that guy?
Deadly Mike is probably one of my favorite rivals of all time. You know what I mean? Like he's just like this. If you don't know who Deadly Mike is, he's like, so he became the best drawer, like illustrator for Marvel Comics. Like he's draws for Marvel now. He's like the best. Like he's like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. But when we were coming up, we had this kind of like a friendship and a rivalry at the same time. Like we were kind of friends, but at the same time rivals, because he was part of DDT, right? Like he was in DDT, right? And I was in Supernaturals. But because we're Filipino, and I was close with his brother. Me and his brother used to rave together. So it was kind of weird. It's kind of like we're friends and not. And so, I feel like, he got a little bit of inspirations from me, and I obviously got some inspirations from him. But because my way of thinking of breaking was about having the craziest legs, because crazy legs was my standard for like footwork. So my style was kind of built off crazy legs. So I wanted to have the craziest legs, and he liked Easy Rock, right? Like his main person was Easy Rock. So we had this thing about who can have the most best illest legs, right? Like, and so we kind of like built going off each other, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's why. So he's like my favorite rival. Like he was like the nastiest. And then of course people are gonna go, oh, you're biting him and you're biting this guy, but these are my rivals, you know what I mean? Like, so of course I'm gonna try to one up their moves and destroy them in a circle, you know what I mean? I'm gonna take what they do and flip it and then throw it back at them. Like, of course that's part of breaking, right? So yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
Dizzy, these stories can go on and on, man. Thank you for even like sharing all this.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, like, what advice would you have for people like the younger generation coming up? What advice would you have to share for them coming up into the scene, not even knowing that all the stuff that you had to go through? Because I know there's a lot of young people that's going to be watching this one day, and I think
when I'm dead, people will revisit this. It's so true.
Like Tupac, it is though, bro. Everybody's gonna watch all of our videos, though.
Yeah.
Bro.
when we're dead, when I'm dead, for sure. You know, when we die, then
Yeah.
people are gonna start looking at everything and go, "Oh, look, oh," you know, like they
They were
appreciate
telling
you
the
when you're gone.
truth. They were telling the truth in 2023.
Yeah,
But what
no,
advice?
it's cool.
What advice would you give to like the somebody watching young though? Like, bro, like,
Uh, it's hard because it's a different time than it is now, than it was back then. You
right?
know, like it's like I don't want to tell kids, okay, you know what, you got to go move into the hood, you know, and you need to like join a gang, and you need to experience that
Mm-hmm.
life because, and you know, like to be raw, like that's not what we want to do, right? So my suggestion is to like work to build to get into a legacy crew, you know, like a legacy b-boy crew, because
Okay.
I feel like legacy b-boy crews, they have the knowledge that's passed down to them, you know, of the essence, and you get a head start, you know, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so you know, it's like I believe that everyone should try to kind of like eventually get into a really good crew, and then that way, you know, because I got into Supernaturals, which wasn't my first crew, you know, it gave me a head start because I adopted their way of thinking, and you know, and that helped me, and I feel like, you know, that's what I think that crews should be doing now is like you know, getting into like legacy crews that have been around, you know, since at least the mid 2000s. Have been around since at least 20 years, you know, and they
Mm-hmm.
can, you know, so I would suggest that, you know, instead of trying to make it on your own and try, you know, but it's kind of hard because most b-boys now, you know, and maybe and b-girls probably as well. I can't speak for b-girls, you know, but for b-boys, I know they look like it's just natural. This is just natural. I used to do this. We look at what is the easiest way to get your name out, right? Like that's how we it's ingrained in us, right? And then we look at what is winning at that time, and we naturally say, this is the biggest event where people will watch BC1 or Olympics, and this is what people are doing to win. So you naturally are going to do that in order
Mm-hmm.
to want to win, right? Like, you know, it's totally natural, right? And so my advice is, if you're just doing only that, you're going to be trailing behind. You know, you're trying to catch the wave. So in order to get a head start, and you know, is to seek knowledge from different crews. Then in this day and time, you can also get coaches, right? Like, you know, which is like unheard of, right? Like, you know, so invest in yourself with a coach. You know what I mean? Somebody to coach you and give you that head start if you want to catch up. You know, like whatever that might be, right? So a lot of if all these people who have come up right now, they got into really good crews or been breaking with really dope people, and that's why they, you know. So in order for you to get to do that, you have to show promise, and you have to show talent, and you have to show determination, and show some loyalty. And when you can show that to a crew, then they'll usually adopt you and take you in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I would suggest that, right? Without, because there's so much things to talk about, but for somebody who's coming up right now, I would suggest to do that so that they can like, because it's not me who can just help you. It'll be a lot of people can help you. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people out there that can help you. You know, so yeah, seek to go under. You know, it's kind of like Shaolin. Like you join a kung fu temple if you want to learn, you know, certain kung fu. Like Tiger, you go train with the Tiger Kung Fu Shaolin fighters. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you go to different temples, and it's the same thing with breaking, right? Like if you're a thread guy, a thread and flow guy, come train the supernaturals, right? If you're
Mm.
like, you know, right? Like if you're a power guy, then go see if you can meet up with gamblers, or go to, you know, go meet up the dynamic rockers where a lot of that power came from, or go to Cali or whatever. If you're like a circus kind of style guy, then go meet up with, you know, Freak Show or Circus Runaways or Rubber Legs or what, you know, like
Yeah.
go there and then gain the knowledge while you're young, so because your ability will be better. But still, don't just learn from one school of thought. Like try to, like, you know, get knowledge from different ones as well. You know what I mean? Yeah,
That's
but stay loyal to your
amazing.
style. Yeah, yeah. uh, uh
Yeah.
little bear in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
I met Little Bear, and she know this though too. We met on bboy.com back in 1999.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, actually, you know what's crazy? Oh, is it bboy.com or bboy.org? .org or .com? It's
It was
bboy.org.
com.
Or
There's a
bboy.com?
.org too.
Oh, crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, those
One of my boys is
are the
the
two main
yeah.
sites. So yeah, those are the two main sites. But the bboy.com, that's where everybody would go, and people from all over the world would chat. That's how I met Motion from Skill Methods. I met him on bboy.com.
Wasn't it? I remember B-Boy World was the biggest thing back in the day. Like B-Boy World was huge. That was like the number.
Yeah.
To me, that was the number. It was freestyle session. Then it was B-Boy World, and then you had like bboy.org and other forums and stuff like that. When forums were huge. But I remember, yeah, B-Boy. Did bboy.com become bboy.org? Was that the same thing?
No. bboy.org was another site, but I think it was more like for the newbies, like the kids that didn't have names for themselves.
Yeah.
I noticed because I would go to that site and people were like the kids were like somebody said he wanted to battle me on there. He's all, I'll make a video and you make a video and we'll let everybody vote.
I know. We were like, that will never happen, and now that's like the normal, you know?
Yeah. This dude's like, I'm gonna smoke you, Mikey. I'm gonna come out with my video next week.
Yo, man, that's so
anyway,
crazy.
I went to the bboy.com and that's where I met all the Canadian dudes. I met a dude named React. You remember somebody named React?
Yeah. React, yeah, of course, yeah. Oh shoot, that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
word.
I met React and then I met
Oh yeah, React, yeah. Oh yeah, I know him, yeah.
Him?
Yeah, from Calgary.
Yeah, exactly, right there.
Yeah.
I met all the Calgary guys though, and that was the first time that I ever met. I was hanging out with the Canadians though, bro. Like everybody would say, yeah. I was like, where we going? Let's go down the street, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's go get a hamburger. Hey, we was like, why you say so much, though, bro?
Yo, that's like when we think about Americans. We're like, they always say, huh. Like we'll be like, this is good, eh? You're like, this is good, huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You got it.
Man.
Bro.
Word.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
All right.
Those are good times.
Yeah. All right, DYZEE, I just want to say thank you, bro. I know that
Anytime.
it's earlier in your time.
Yeah.
I just want to say that you're a huge inspiration to me to see your company still, like every time I look, bro, I'm seeing it progressing. And for me, that inspires me because when I see somebody doing good, it inspires me to do good because we're doing the same dance. We come from the same culture. We come from the same like mindset.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you want to see somebody else do good? That's the blueprint for you to like,
yes.
You know what? Now I'm going to step my shit up because this guy's killing it in Taiwan. Like, let me kill it in the West Coast.
Yeah. No, you know what? To me, like when I see people rocking breaking brands, like when I see them wearing like first class like Flea Rock's brand or Menno's brand, to me, it's like a flag to show that our culture is rising, right? When people are only wearing like, when you're wearing just only like Adidas and Nike, like that's normal. Everyone does that, but we never progressed. But when you see people now rocking breaking brands, it's like, yo, we're gonna make it because in the end, this is like, and this is something for you too, right? Okay. Breaking brands is gonna be like the thing of the future, you know, because the more people that are putting, this is what I learned. This is what I learned, right? Like, because I've been studying like other industries like skating. It's the brand. People were wearing skate brands, you know what I mean? And the skate brands made money and built skate parks, right? When people are wearing breaking brands, when people are wearing breaking brands, they're investing back into the culture. Like they're like making teams, like they're sponsoring. They're, you know, like OBA, like I don't know if you heard of the official Breaking Brands Association with the Legits, Menno Leisure, First Class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dizzy Threads, Cypher Code from Japan, and Funk and the Furious from Ukraine. We all got together and we just discussed, yo, how can we do this? How can we do something for the scene? Like every time someone buys something for us, like everyone's doing something with the money that they make in the scene. Like we just sent money and a whole bunch of clothes to Africa to help a jam. Like, you know, this will only happen from breaking brands. you know? So when someone supports a breaking brand, you know, you can believe that that money is going back into the culture, you know what I mean? But when you're buying like a corporate brand, where were they before the Olympics? Now they're coming in because they see a huge opportunity to, you know, put a little bit of money that they have, you know, and then further ingrain more people are gonna that are outside of the culture are gonna wear, you know, like are gonna wear Nike, Puma, Adidas, and stuff like that. But do they put the money back into the scene? Like they don't, right? Like, you know, but did they ever reach out to you and say, hey, yo, we want to do something like a documentary by Nike? You're doing this.
Right?
Have they ever done that? Done that for you? Right? Like, no, right? They don't contact you. Did they ever? Do they ever before Olympics? Did they ever contact anybody and say, hey, thanks for wearing Puma suedes, you know, or thanks for winning a battle in this. You know, we want to like help you, want to hook you up, or we want. They don't do that, right? Only when things are hyped they come in. Yet we're giving them all our money, you know, billions and billions of dollars, you know, coming from us, making them popular and famous, but they can't put anything back. They can't help. Like, you know, where's the Adidas All-Star team, right? Like breaking All-Star. Where's the Puma World Championships, right? Like, how come they don't have these, right? Like, why is Red Bull they're Red Bull's doing it, and how many b-boys actually drink Red Bull? To be honest, right? Like, not a lot. They don't make their money from like, you know, like the b-boys I know, they don't really drink too much Red Bull, but yet they're putting so much money into the scene, and they're sponsoring the Red Bull All-Star team and have the Red Bull BC1. Why can't like the brands that we actually do support and buying all this stuff, why don't they do even a tenth of that, of what Red Bull's doing? You know, why can't they do that? You know, so that's why I believe breaking brands is the future. You know what I mean? Because literally all the money goes back into the scene. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
You're right, though, bro. I can see it. I can see it 10 years from now being like the way that, like it's on a super commercial. Like you see somebody like the professor might be wearing a pair of Disney shoes though, bro, because of breaking. Like he's been hearing and seeing the Olympics, so he wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just like, for example, right? Like if you were to like do this interview and you're rocking a Legits hat, right? And then you tag Legits is gonna share it for you because you know, like these are the kind of things that, like, you know, like I'm just telling everybody out there is that when you do anything in a breaking brand, the breaking brand is gonna start supporting you back. You know what I mean, and helping you to, like, you know, because you know, like you're creating a better hip hop future. You know, you're creating that future that we all want to kind of like be part of and live in. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so yeah, I really believe that's the future. So that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for that, though, DYZEE, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
and
my pleasure.
You celebrate Christmas or you don't?
Of course. Yeah, of course. And I celebrate Jesus' birth. You know what I mean? Like, best time of the year for me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You do? Do you?
Yeah.
So okay.
Let me see.
Okay, good.
Little Bear said, "Can you list all the breaking brands on here? Like, can you name it one more time?"
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot, right? There's a lot, and so, you know, I can name so many breaking brands out there. But the OBA is the official Breaking Brands Association. These brands made a promise to work together, not compete with each other, work together to build a better future and put that money back into the scene. That's the difference between OBA and the other breaking brands. Other breaking brands, I'm still sure they put money back into the scene, right? But OBA, it's kind of like a pact, you know what I mean? Like where we're like trying to work together. So that's the Legits. Everybody knows the Legits, right? Then you got Cipher Code, right? And then you got so Legits, Cipher Code. You have Funk and the Furious from Ukraine. That's Intact and those guys, like, you know. Then you got Menno Leisure with the tracksuits, and everyone knows Menno Leisure. You got First Class. That's like the first class, like the joggers and the fashion. That's Flea Rock. And then Dizzy Threads is like the shoes. You know what I mean? So we're like, but it's not just, we don't want it to be just us, right? We want everybody. So there's other people who were in the mix that were in the beginning, but it kind of like, you know, kind of fizzled away for a bit.
Something going on.
Yeah.
G-Wiz got something going on.
That's what we want. We want G-Wiz. Like, there's so many b-boys that are making brands that we want to bring them under one a banner like OBA. So it's kind of like each breaking brand is its own individual, like a crew member but Oba is like the crew, you know, and we want to bring everybody kind of into it and,
okay.
and establish like something that we can all agree on. Like, you know, if we're making, like, you know, we come up with projects, we want to like get, at a certain point, we want to sponsor B-boys, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like sponsor B-boys, like to come up, you know? So back in the day, B-boy World used to make a B-boy World team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to like, you know, we want to kind of do something similar, like help like people who are really talented come up and stuff like that. And so that's the idea behind Oba brand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And then
Yeah.
eventually in the future, not just be official breaking brands, but official breaking businesses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like whether if you own a school, you make the mat for breaking, like StepX, like all, like we want to like kind of bring everyone together and then build this infrastructure. You know what I mean? So that's what's kind of going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I
you know?
like that. Yeah.
So you're kind of like the
that's
first.
why-
You're kind of the first to get to know this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because we haven't been talking about. Everyone's busy, but you know, I'm just telling you what's really going on. You know what we're trying to do. You know, so
I appreciate that, bro,
yeah,
because I'm the type of person I love new information because that fuels my soul to be like, okay, all right, now I need to get it together. I need to really get it together because, when all these corporations come in, I want to be a part of it. I definitely want to. I definitely want to see like Mikey Ice on somebody's like tracksuit though, bro. I come out with my own tracksuits. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, you should, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? We all gotta, you know, and if you wanted to ever make anything, like you don't almost like we don't have to have the hustling mentality. That's one other thing that we're trying to do is like we don't need to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna make this and I'm gonna like we can all work together. You know what I mean? So we can make like a collaboration. Like anybody, you can collaborate with anybody. That's part of Oba. Is like let's collaborate together. You know, like you make this colorway, I'll make the shoes. This guy will make the hat. Like you know, and we'll have like, and we encourage like mixing the brands. Like we encourage that, right? Where Nike and Puma and Adidas, they you know you can't do that, right? Like you know you like you know, but with us, you want to be like, if someone's wearing a first class jacket, you can wear DYZEE threads. You can wear like a Breaking Brands hat, like you know, spin control hat. Like we want to encourage that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I got a lot to go back home and to write down, bro. So thank you for sharing this because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, sick.
I'm learning from each one of you guys though because I want to be more professional what I do too. Like I would love to have like a room with a green room and a mic and you know a professional background with a you know like a real microphone. Like that would be my goal.
Yeah, definitely you can do that for sure.
Yeah, I could do that. You know, but I know you got to take small steps, and these are just the small steps of being able to keep the relationships with dancers. Because every time I go to events, like people still like when they see me, like people still get excited, and I'm thinking like, yo, that's what's up, bro. Like,
good.
I don't want to be forgotten.
Good to hear.
I spend too much of time. I gave everything. I gave my life to this culture. Literally, you know that I put my life into this. Like we should be remembered though, bro. We should be talked about like at you know if they ever come out with a breaking university, like our name should be spoken. You know, like
it's already happening
for you.
It's already happening. Like I mean, that's another thing that people don't realize. I'm sorry to keep going, right? But so for example, like there's a B girl from Canada, Mary Fogarty. You know,
oh yeah, I know
she was like a B girl. Yeah, it's like she's literally. Like I would credit her as like the first to really take the culture into the academic world, like to successfully become to gain a PhD and talking about all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's other people who do it too, but her success in it has gone so far. So a lot of the things that we're seeing today, like funding and things coming in, it's because she's introducing the academic world to breaking. You know, that's a huge thing. So you know what I mean? Like, you know,
oh my God.
So a lot of people see her like, who's this? You know, Mary Fogarty. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like her name was big girl Mary Jane. Like that was her name back in the day. Yeah, she was Mary Jane, right? Like, you know, right? She was part of like a crew that was like, you know, like a legit crew from Canada. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, but she pushed that aside so that she basically sacrificed her breaking career in order for her to enter the academic world from a non-biased perspective. Because if you're like, yo, I'm a B-boy or I'm a B-girl and I'm doing this academic thing, they'll view you as as a like what's the word, like too passionate about something, like you're biased, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of
Okay.
enter and present something from a non-biased perspective, and right, like, you know what I mean? And that's what she did, right, for breaking. And so, you know, that's what I think is like is awesome. Like, so she's somebody else that you should interview someday, right, when more people kind of
Oh,
wake up to who she is.
yeah.
Because I know
Okay, yep.
she got some slack. She got some slack. People are like, "Who's this girl? You know, who's this whatever?" Right? And so I'm just saying, hey, but a lot of people don't know who she really is. But she you know, she's from Canada and she did her PhD in like Scotland. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like she was part of the
Okay.
scene. She was part of the scene out there. She's part of the scene like in Canada. Like she's part, you know, so she's doing stuff. You know, so yeah, it's really
All right,
dope.
all right. I'm gonna
Cool.
reach out to her. Thank you for sharing that. I'm definitely gonna reach
Yeah,
out to her,
yeah.
Dizzy.
Word. All right, sweet,
Okay.
bro. It's good talking to you. And yeah,
You
thanks.
too.
I thank everybody for coming on. All right, yo. I'll catch
All
you in
right.
the next one.
All right.
All right, bro.
Peace.
Peace.